Hello. Hello. Yeah. Hmm. Annoying. Very annoying. Maybe it's because it's only sending through some. Oh. Okay. Well, I guess I see. I guess I see what I fixed. That's dumb. I guess it's only sending through one of the tracks. Oh my god. Well, that's dumb. Oh, volume full blast? Oh no. Shit. Hey, there you go. You heard the hello a couple times. Well, okay. That's weird. Okay, well, I guess I'm just not going to touch anything. If it works, if people hear me. Yeah, it's definitely a real journey there. Only 12 people watching? No, I believe that. I don't know. I don't know if my audience is super into live streaming because I never do it. So, welcome back, Daddy's Officer. Yeah, like I never stream, and so I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people are like, nah, I'm good. I don't want to watch that. He's already disorganized enough as is. Can you imagine streaming soft serve? Dear God, it's the worst. And I'd go, yeah, I agree with that. That's fair. What was I doing? What was I doing? Now that we randomly had an audio issue, which really I don't think is a stream if you don't have an audio issue. That seems, I think every streamer I've ever watched, there's never not some sort of issue. I wish my computer wasn't doggy doo-doo so I could play mods for Elden Ring. Yeah. Yeah, I hadn't even tried like streaming Elden Ring. Why is Firelink brown, bruh? Yeah, it's a bit more brown than it was before. I've been messing with the tone correct settings. I feel like it undid some of my work, which is weird. So if I go into the tone correct, which yeah is actually the last thing I was messing with. And basically the way that it works is the tone correct is like the highest level color correction that you can do on the entire scene, and it's set per object. And so you can really do it per object if you want. I tend to do it for like the whole scene. Yeah, Framped farted. He ripped real ass. Actually, speaking of that, someone in my Discord is working on a Framped mod where he's sitting in a big toilet, which I thought was pretty funny. Yeah, the color correction is all done through tone correct, and it's all RGB values, so it's a little tricky. And then like the contrast setting is like the opposite of what you would think, because the higher you put the setting, the lower the contrast I think is. So let's try something real quick. If we set green down to 1. Yeah, skibbity framped. I think that's. I don't get the skibbity reference. Like people keep saying it, and I go, well, now I've associated it with toilets. I don't know why, but I'm okay with it, to be honest. Skibbity it up. All right. So the good thing is, okay, none of my porn folders are open. Not that I have any, of course not. Who would be downloading porn, first of all? What is it, 1995? Or 2005? Get out of here. Watch your porn in browser like an adult, okay? Not to get on the porn topic. Morning, y'all. Oh, hey, there's Crispy. What up, Crispy? Yes, it is a good morning. We are in Lordran. We are seeing if we can unbrown Firelink Shrine. Someone dropped a giant turd on this area. It is warm, but yeah, it definitely has become too brown for my taste. And some of these settings, it's a little, I don't know, it's a little washed out. I actually want more. Porn is bad, actually? Oh, hot take. Hot take. Oh, man. Got to hear more about that. Actually, we don't. We should move on. Don't get me banned from YouTube. We can talk about feet, but that's because Miyazaki loves feet. So, like, that's lore accurate if we talk about it. What else is on the agenda for today, then? Well, it's fixing... Ooh, hey, yeah, you can see the green got boosted for sure. Okay. Nice. Okay, that's a lot more green. A little too much green. Alright. I guess the blue probably needs to go up as well. Let's see. I was gonna fix bugs. Feet are bad, actually. Okay, Checksteak is just out here poo-pooing everything. What's next? YouTube is bad. I mean, Twitter is bad in many ways, so yeah, alright. Gwen is bad. We don't like Gwen. Big Daddy Gwen. I guess what if we set it all to just standard? Super standard, normal, 1.0 saturation, all base level. We need a good starting point here. But yeah, that's on the agenda, is fixing things in the fixing thing in the bugs? No, fixing things in the mod. My last stream, I didn't mod at all. So I felt like I should finish the prophecy and actually mod on stream. I need to get used to it, because technically I could just stream, I think I could just stream all the time. I could stream more often. I guess I was just like, am I just going to be a really worse modder? Because I think some modders have gotten really used to doing it. Like, Stay streams all the time, right? I can tell you people want this place to be bluish. Yeah, I know. Yeah, the classic Firelink Shrine. Which makes sense. Which I can do on a collision basis. I think that's why I prefer doing it through the tone correction, because I've basically mirrored the lighting between Undead Burg and Firelink Shrine. And so the main reason behind that is that because I added the distant structures and being able to see Undead Burg, the real version, from there, it helps a lot to actually, you need to make sure that they have the same fog settings and the same like light scatter settings, because if they don't, they're going to look massively awful and they'll stick out like a sore thumb. So that's kind of your first thing to do, which is easy because that they actually share a draw param. So you can have the same settings between the two of them. So that's good. But then if you want to have variation, you can do it on a tone correct collision basis. So as my character steps onto certain areas, I can change what the whole scene looks like. So from Firelink Shrine, I can have it be bluish. But then when I step onto collisions in Undead Burg, I can have it be normal. So I think that's what I'll do, is currently tone correct currently where I'm at to make it a little bit more contrasty, leave that as is, and then create a new tone correct for just Firelink Shrine. Because I do think it'd be cool to have a bluish Firelink Shrine like the original, but with really well visualized shadows. Because that was my biggest problem, and the reason why I changed Firelink Shrine to begin with was that the shadows were not very visible. That was legit the reason. So there actually was a reason behind the change. I think some people were like, this dude, he likes the piss filter. And I'm like, well, I mean, no. But there was a specific reason, and Undead Burg had really contrasty shadows. Part of it. But yeah, I would like it to be contrasty. Alright, let's see how it looks. It's going to be a lot of loading in and out of the game. So if that's the stream that you like, well, okay. So here we have a very standard look. This is like before we've done any real tone correcting. because everything is at the default value. So we can kind of move from here. Realistically, what I'm doing here is what I'll be using in Undead Burg, and then after this, we're going to do a tone correct, discrete setting for Firelink Shrine. So let's see, because right now everything I'm changing here will actually show up in Undead Burg as well. Which I don't know if everyone who's watching the stream had seen my Twitter post. I'm going to assume probably not, which is fair. I added the Undead Burg skybox to Firelink Shrine because, well, it turned out it was just a lot better, and it is a shared place. And so what you're saying is there's a future project to add piss filter back to the MGS3 remake. Yeah, those remakes are really interesting. But yeah, look at this distant cloud view now. Like, honestly, the Undead Burg skybox, like, why the fuck didn't they use this for Firelink Shrine? Like, the Firelink Shrine one was way less things off in the distance, and they're literally right next to each other. And I also don't think it takes anything away from Firelink Shrine's sort of vibe, right? I don't know, when I did it, I was like, well, shit, why didn't I do this? Oh, the purple, don't worry about that. Yeah, that is a known remastered issue. It actually, I've been looking at that for quite a while. You would assume that it was a, well, I'll show you. So the thing that I thought would be the setting, logically, that would fix that, because that you can see throughout Undead Burg. The skybox looks flat. Okay. I mean, it's not, but you mean like the top portion? Yeah. But yeah, I think it's in the light scatter. You'll actually see the reflectance RGBA values, and you would assume that would be the thing that would control the, you should make it dark blue lighting. Yeah, I mean, so that's kind of the thing of, I've got a lot of different suggestions that people put out there, so I really have to, like, it's one of those weird modder things where you have to, like, listen to the feedback and then go, I'm going to do my own thing. Or it's tough because you're like, well, do I listen to 80% of what people are saying? Or do I listen to the 5% that are like, I want it to be the OG and not changed at all? Which, of course, those people I do mostly ignore because, well, then that doesn't make any sense. Then why is it a mod? So that one, usually when people tell me, they're like, well, I want it to be exactly how the original game is. And I go, well, then go play the original game. To be honest. Like, I do get to a point of being like, go fucking play that game. Stop telling me that. That's not anything. You think I don't know that? You think I don't know. That one does annoy me after a while. And I'm the user of the 93. Oh, hey, yeah, I know that. The color temperature, it seems 210, 223, 255. Oh, okay. Got it. Why don't you make some optional ones? Okay, well, that's because it's really hard to do that. And changing it for all these different versions is incredibly annoying. And updating them, because then I would need to update the mod like 3 or 4 separate times, because these settings are set in the MSB file, and the problem is the MSB file needs to be updated every time the mod is updated. Well, not necessarily. If you're not adjusting anything in Firelink Shrine, then that MSB cannot need to be updated. And so that's cool, but if I make a change to Firelink Shrine, then I need to go back to all the other versions and then update that. But then the problem is that tone correct is now different. So, like, I'm just not going to do that. That is, I think people think that's easier. What I would honestly recommend people do is just download Reshade and then tweak the colors however you want, because I'm not going to make 5 different versions. That's just not going to happen. When my phone buzzed with a stream notification, someone else on the call's phone buzzed. A fellow soft servant. Most people can correctly point out something that doesn't feel right, but when it comes to what they think needs to change, they are often incorrect. Yes, I would agree with that. I think, I'm okay that they're pointing out that something looks off, because then I can go, oh, okay, because I'm in my whole, I live in this mod, so like I can sometimes not notice that. But actually, yeah, let me save this 210, 223, 255. I want to save those RGB values because that's actually really cool. I appreciate that. Let's see if can I open Notepad or something? But yeah, definitely with modding, you have to get used to like feedback you're going to get that just sucks and it's not useful. And that's fine because that's modding. But like literally if people are just upset about colors, I'm like, dude, I'm not going to make everyone happy. So like just, can't wait to see Duke's Archives. Personally, Duke's Archives I wouldn't get too excited about. The outside portion looks really good. Since I removed the baked lighting for the foresty area, the shadows are really awesome and cool and vibrant. But let me tell you, Duke's Archives is probably one of the most shit levels they designed, in term, not just on a functional level. It has geometry clipping. It is busted as all hell. The lighting doesn't work like it does in other levels. Modifying it does not do what other levels do when you adjust the light IDs. I promise you. It is one of the most baffling levels for editing. I fucking hate it. So that's one level that I genuinely like don't go back to very often. Have you gotten rid of the floating door? No. I have not gotten rid of the floating door. But I did have an idea. Well, actually, no. Illusory Wall had an idea where they DM'd me and they were like, hey, man, I know you made that post about not removing the floating door in Duke's Archives, which is sort of canonical, right? And, he had an idea of like, well, yeah, what if you move that door and you make it into, somewhere that you can actually like see it easier, and you could actually like put a message in front of it, and sort of like honoring the floating door. It would be sort of like a Easter egg reference for those who know about that floating door. I think that'd be kind of cool. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, my current versions of Duke's Archives, it's one of those where I don't touch it that often. Yeah, it's actually pretty hard to find the floating door. TBH, it is actually pretty hard to find that. I had to like hover right around the right spot, and it's super hard to find. And yeah, it's super cool though. But I do like the idea of like moving it but still honoring that door, because it is one of those goofy like thing. It's just one of those goofy things they left over. It's like I was playing Bloodborne a few days ago, and of course you get the old Yarnum, and you see that floating statue, and you're just like, what the fuck is going on there? That one's even more baffling, I think, to me, because I'm like, how did you all not notice that? Like, oh yeah, there's that floating piece of grass. Okay, this thing is really strange, because if I go into DS Map Studio, it's not really there. It's really fucking strange. Oh wait, did I have two Soul Strucks open? Oh, shit in my ass if I do. Well, no, I do have a Prepare to Die one. No, I'm in the right spot. Okay. Yeah, it's really weird, because the floating grass, I think, is supposed to be right here. But it's not. So I'm like, okay, interesting. Just one of those things that don't align together. Or maybe I never copied over the... No, I'm pretty sure I did copy over the map folder. Yeah, Bloodborne is peak. It's not my favorite From Software game, but I think it is the one I respect the most, because I still feel like it's the most well-realized creative vision that I think they've ever had. It's just, and Miyazaki has talked about that being his favorite game, if he had to pick. And I think that makes perfect sense. It really feels like it when you play it. It just feels like they were absolutely just doing whatever the fuck they wanted, and it's just so good. It's dripping with atmosphere. It's one of the most atmospheric games I think I've ever played. I think I've played it like 4 times, give or take. So not as much as the other games. And Dark Souls 1 is admittedly my first Souls game, so I think that's always going to be part of it, you know. I think that's true for a lot of people with Dark Souls 2. That was like their first one, and so it's kind of always special because of that. I'll have to steal my friend's PS4 to play it. Fuck yeah, man. Absolutely. 100% recommend stealing a PS4 to play it. Yeah. It's so good. It needs to be experienced by basically every From Software fan. I think it's required playing. Yeah, that grass is still there. Oh, and that's floating too. The shit? Okay. There's not even any grass in this vicinity. Okay, well, I'll delete these because I added these myself, I think. Yeah, fuck you guys. Alright, sure, we're not doing that. We're not... What in the holy goddamn hell? Steal a free PS4. My only issue with Bloodborne is the frame rate. Yeah. It reminds me of when I used to play Gran Turismo on PlayStation 1. But this was like, if I ever went back to play Gran Turismo 2 or something, after playing Gran Turismo 3 on PS2. And there's just I don't think we've ever had a bigger jump between going from PS1 to PS2. And whenever you do that, you go back to PS1 games, you're like, oh my god, this looks fucking awful. Because of the way that the actual like geometry is rendered for PS1, it's very jittery. And that's just kind of how they were doing it. But your eyes adjust to it. Like the longer I would play it, I was like, oh shit, okay, I got it. My eyes were like, oh, okay, I'm used to this. And I think 30 FPS is the same way. But what is required for 30 FPS is a good implementation of motion blur. 30 FPS with no motion blur is fucking awful. You really do need that motion blur to blend the frames together. And not just that, you can have per object motion blur, which is separate. People get those mistakes all the time of camera motion blur versus per object. So, well, and so that's the other problem, is that the actual frame rate itself is not consistent. It is a inconsistent 30 FPS. And it's not even just the frame rate, which can go down to like 27 FPS as well, and varies depending on the area, but it also is the frame pacing, in that the frames that are being delivered to the screen are not actually in order, and they are jittery. So that has been fixed in like the 60 FPS patch. When you play it on PS5 now using the exploit, you can actually get a correctly frame-paced, locked 60 FPS 1080p experience. A lot of people are wondering, I've seen comments where they're like, yeah, but why are you only playing it at 1080p on the PS5? Couldn't it support higher than that? And it's like, well, yeah, but that's actually down to how PS4 games work, in that if it was never updated for PS4 Pro, which unfortunately Bloodborne was not, and I don't fucking understand why it wasn't. I understand why it doesn't get an update now. Like, no shit, it's not going to get an update now. It's too late, and there's no reason for that. And there's no money in that. But back then, like, it had only been like 2 years or a little bit less since Bloodborne came out and the PS4 Pro came out. Like, why the fuck didn't you do a 4K version? I don't know. To be honest, I think that's the bigger question of, like, you updated like all your games. Why the fuck didn't you update? Like, your Japan studio was still around at that point, so, which they should have never closed. But that's another topic. So I don't know. We'll get Bloodborne remake within the next couple years. I think is pretty. I know a lot of people are like, oh, everyone says it, but you have to think about it logically. It's not actually that hard of a thing to understand. Here are the okay. Let's do a little aside here on Bloodborne, just because I do love talking about it, but people misunderstand this topic a lot. Where the reason why they haven't done a Bloodborne patch is there's no money in that. There's next to no money in that. There is technically, they've done like some $10 upgrade to a PS5 version or something, but they're not going to fucking do that. That's not enough money. That's not worth it. They're going to do a remake because they did it with Demon Souls and it worked well. And it was great. Of course, some people had complaints, but from a commercial standpoint, it was great. And it helped sell the PS5. And the other IP they own is Bloodborne. So, like, there's no argument for them not doing it. But we know what they're not going to do. I don't think they're going to do a remaster. I think they're going to go straight remake. 10-year anniversary, easy peasy. $70, and you'll get a shit ton of people buying the PS5. And then you have people go, oh yeah, well, why won't they do a PC version? And it's like, once again, you have to understand how Sony functions. I'll answer that. Why the fuck would they remake Bloodborne? Easy. Money. And but you have to understand Sony. Sony is never going to release something to PC before it has made the trip to PS5 as an exclusive. That's not going to happen. There's no point for them doing that. I don't agree with it. I would prefer I get a PC version because of no shit. But they're never going to do that. Financially, it doesn't make sense. Yes, it would sell a shit ton of copies on PC, but they will sell it on PC later. This is why they've done it with every single exclusive, pretty much except for Demon Souls Remake at this point, where PS5 gets its 3 years, 2-3 years. They sell a shit ton of copies, sell a bunch of PS5s, and then they put it through, a PC version. They sell a shit ton of copies, and they get more sales. Like, we can disagree with it, but it makes sense. I don't like it. Also, his feet are fucking huge, by the way. But yeah, why the fuck would they remake Bloodborne? Why wouldn't they? Realistically, why wouldn't they? Money. Like, there's no reason not to remake it. It would absolutely print money. So, and they own the IP, and it'll be 10 years at 2025. There's no reason for them to leave it alone, unless they hate money. And as we know, they love money. So, like, they're a company. Like, I'd love someone to make the argument of why they shouldn't remake Bloodborne, but not from the perspective of, oh, they'll screw it up. Like, screwing it up, you still have the original game. So if you disagree with the remake, then go fucking play the original game. I guess that's my thing, where I did say huge feet. We're allowed to talk about feet on this stream because Miyazaki loves feet. And look at these. I'm trying to think of look at these girls, look at these hams, look at these. Well, okay, so the 2 million number is not the current total. So, that is not actually the current sales total. That might be the last thing we know of, but I promise you that is not the current number. Having only a remaster is not enough to move the masses they need, so a remake, if ever, is the way to go. Well, yeah, so there I agree, that they're not going to just go for a remastered. You don't think they would do remaster like Dark Souls Remastered? Well, no, and that's because, in this case, they're different companies. And so the remastered for Dark Souls was a pretty half-baked project that had nothing to do with From Software. Dark Souls has nothing to do with Sony. Well, yes. Well, right. That's where my answer is going. That, like, yeah, those decisions were different, where Bandai Namco was basically like, well, let's get a remaster out there, and it was not, super. It was, I mean, it's fine, and there's a lot of good things. But yeah, so they're going to do the remake because they did that with their previous From Software owned IP, or, well, their IP that was made by From Software that they own. So if you want to look at any example of what they will do in the future, what did they do in the past? They remade Demon Souls, and it was fucking awesome. And critically, it was great. Commercially, I think it was pretty good. I never heard any complaints or articles of like, well, that fucking failed. It was supposed to be a showpiece for PS5, and to this day it is. Like, it's one of the best looking games you can play currently on any platform, and I absolutely hold to that. God, I'm bad at talking and modding. I'm the worst. So let's bring up this. Okay, so we're at our base tone correct settings, and it's pretty boring looking. It doesn't sit right with me leaving the original game as it is. Yeah, I would agree. What if you remove the door and then the worlds fall apart? That was kind of my thinking, yeah, is that it's one of those things where the entire game relies upon it, and that's why they kept it there. I could see that being true, honestly. What if we bring the brightness of green up a bit? What about that? Feet souls? I'm a little surprised that in Elden Ring they had those big hand monsters that are like hand spiders. I bet they have a cut version of those that are like their feet versions. That would be real nightmare fuel, right? I'd be like, oh no. Yeah, what if we pump the green up and then we pump the blue up a bit? Because we want it to be a little bit more blue, right? Or no. We're doing this for Undead Burg, I gotta remember. Undead Burg is a little bit more... We like the green. We like the red. We don't really like blue for Undead Burg that much. But for Firelink Shrine, we will do a separate tone correct. Well, actually, yeah, while we're here, let's just make a... So here's a quick way if you ever want to make a duplicate of, like if you're editing this one and you want to make a new tone correct ID, but you don't want to like manually copy each one over, you can actually just delete like number 11 here and then click on your number 10 and do Control D. It'll automatically create the 11, but then have the same settings. So it's an easy way. Foot spiders would be uninstall fuel. It really would. You know the other things that would be uninstall fuel? It would be Godskin Trio. I will uninstall the game. Fuck the Godskin Duo. I fucking hate that fight. I genuinely... That was a brick wall. Some people had no problem with it, but I'm like, that's Ornstein and Smo. If they're horny as fuck, they're in a smaller arena, and they do an ass load of damage. I fucking hate it. And then they res each other continuously until the shared health bar. Like, nah, bro, I didn't like that fight. I was like, nope. I've seen these two people separately, but now they're dropping an EP and they have to come into the same boss fight. I'm like, I hate the fat one. The fat Godskin guy is so bad. He just, oh my god, he's the Michelin man rolling around. I think the red value is too high for leaves to be more green. The red has to be lower than the green, and the green lower than the blue. Yeah, that's true, actually. Oh, yeah, that is actually the annoying thing of how the RGB values work for the tone correct. Like, I wish it was actually directly RGB values, right? But unfortunately, it's not. It just sets it at a 1, and then you can kind of move, above that, below that. It's not the way I would want it to be. TBH. So we're setting for 11. We're gonna, let's basically, well, I guess we can do that. Let's pick every map piece except for the sky. We don't want to fuck that one. I've learned that one. Don't do a tone correct on the sky. Well, no, actually that's fine. No, the sky can be tone corrected. It just, you don't want to mess with the light ID, the fog ID, or any of that shit. That doesn't go well. But we will change the tone correct to 11. So 11 is now the one we're modifying, and we are not changing Undead Burg, which is good. We're also going to look at the collisions and make sure they are all set to a tone correct of 11. Oh, no. I actually just fucked up. I just realized. We want to do this through collisions. We don't really want to actually do this through modifying the map pieces themselves. And that's mostly down to, if you see it from Undead Burg, it's going to look fucking weird. How to fix that fight? Make it so the fat one AI rolls less. Yes. That rolling is real bad. I fucking hate it. And I can avoid like one of them, but I feel like it's gonna get me no matter what. And I'm like, oh my god, it's so annoying. Yeah, let's see. What if we turn off the tone correct for map pieces. I always forget. I like to pull up Prepare to Die. I actually have a Prepare to Die project that I was messing with something in Undead Burg here. But I try to remember how they do it for their collisions versus map pieces. So they have this map piece being tone correct 10, tone map 10, and then their, oh, actually their collision is tone correct as well. Okay. Sometimes they'll only do their tone correcting through the collisions and not the map pieces themselves, which does actually make sense. Oh, and this was, oh no, that's that weird collision. They do this weird thing where they, anytime they have like an incline or stairs, they always will use like a 7,000 collision versus the collision that's right there, which is like 1018. It's really, it's odd. And then they have different lighting settings for the specific, these collisions, but they don't actually like affect anything. It's one of those odd things I've noticed. Really strange. Don't know why it's like that. But such is life. Yeah, let's keep the tone correct the same on these map pieces. Because we don't want to fuck them up when you view from Undead Burg. Although, generally from Undead Burg, you're viewing a fake one that is simply the real one, but a fake version of the real one, if that makes sense. It's better than the original fake that was there, but it is still a fake. I have not done the method of using like connect collisions where you can actually tell the game engine, hey, go render that map as it actually is. And the reason for not doing that is that by doing that, if you load too many maps at once, it will start killing NPCs aimlessly. And so I don't want to do that. So that's why you'll see right here we have the Firelink Shrine map. And you'll see I've loaded in this fake Undead Burg. But it is technically the models from the real one. But this allows me to modify these without actually changing the real Undead Burg, basically. I want to basically separate that so I'm not actually fucking up the real game. I'm just adjusting facsimiles. If that makes sense. So, what was I doing? Tone correct of 10. Yes, so we have 10, but then in the collisions we're doing 11. So for 11, we need the blue to be higher. Let me go back to that. Yeah, I think the red value is too high. For leaves to be more green, the red has to be lower. Yeah, red has to be lower than the green. And then the green lower than the blue. Which, that is true. So if we do, we sort of go 1 to 1.1 to 1.2. Just as a test. And then we copy our thingies. Can you replace the textures in Blender with high resolution ones? Well, I mean, you can replace the textures not using Blender at all. You can just basically, you go to the Fiverr file, and you find out what textures it's using, and then you can upscale those textures. I've already upscaled most of them in Firelink Shrine. Some of what is down to the low resolution look can actually not be, because there's the albedo, the normal, and the specular map textures. And I can comfortably upscale the albedo. But if I upscale the normal or the specular, you start getting into issues. And funky shit. Well, so Carlo, the problem with that is that is not, I can't directly type in the RGB values. I have to, you can only do, the baseline is 1.0, and then you have to go 1.1 or 1.2. There is no, I wish I could just type in 210, 223, 255. Now, technically, there are more baseline settings in the Light ID where you could put in RGB values, but there's like 5,000 different fields for those RGB values. And the thing is, I also don't want to affect those because I'm affecting both Undead Burg and Firelink Shrine. Thus, I only want to do it from a high level But yes, you are right that I could think of 1.0 as 255, which is, yes. So, yeah, that's true. Yeah, if we do that, where we, so if we think of 1.0, instead of going over the 1, that's true. I guess if we thought of B being the highest one being 255, then you can think of, I guess, 223, yeah, making the actual like conversions of that. Improved in custom textures. Oh, yeah, there's plenty of texture mods. The problem is that the way that they do their texture mods, which is the way that everyone does their texture mods, is they use like the texture unpacker, repacker, which is cool, but I don't think it really works with my mod, and because I'm affecting all of the texture files at this point. And so we're competing, basically, between who's overriding what textures. And it also depends how they're doing it. If they're, like the way I do it, when you install my mod, basically you're copying over directly the TPF files. And there's like 4 of them for each map. And so if their mod had those same TPF files, well, basically they would take over whatever I was doing, which normally is fine. But here's where the problem comes in. The baked lighting that I have removed in this mod, that is all being done in the texture files. So a lot of that would be undone if you start using texture mods, because they were not removing the baked lighting. And so getting the different texture mods to work together, that is, so obviously I'm not going to QA that, as that's a rabbit hole that I'm going to go down. So that's why I decided I'm going to remaster my own textures, and it'll be part of my mod. I've already done that for a decent amount of areas. Will it be as good as their texture mods? No, but I will say, is it more faithful? Yes, because I'm the one doing it, and I can guarantee that when I'm upscaling textures, I can see the before and after. And the method that I do it doesn't really change the artistic styling of them at all. It literally just increases detail. So that's the long form answer of, yeah. Brightness G. Okay. So if we want blue to be the highest, actually no. Let's go back to what I was doing just for a second. Just for a second. Let me just do this, where we know we want blue to be the highest, green to be the middle, and red to be the lowest. Assuming we were doing that. Let's just try some shit. Oh, someone killed gargoyles. Damn. W. Oh, do we have W? Have we W'd? It would be cool if there was a door to your new path on the bridge that uses a key you need to get the lower undead berg to not destroy progression. I guess I don't feel like my bridge thing destroys progression, right? Does it? Like, I don't think so. Because that bridge, you only have access to it once you've killed Taurus. You're on the bridge. You then go down the little staircase to kick the ladder down. Now you're on the bridge. You can see that room. And so you've killed Taurus Demon. Technically, gargoyles are could be next. And if you use that bridge, you could go through that doorway, hop behind the gate, open it, and then head towards Lower Undead Berg, which is fine. There's always been ways to skip into Lower Undead Berg anyway. And the only difference was you getting the basement key, right? Like, how does that? I guess I'm like, I don't know how that destroys progression. Like, if you go to an area in Dark Souls and you go, I'm getting my ass handed to me, well, you go somewhere else. I guess for me, I don't think that's affecting the original intent, and that you could always get to Lower Undead Berg like within 5 seconds of that anyway. Right? So I'd love to hear how I'm wrong on that, but I I genuinely think that doesn't destroy progression. See what modders can achieve with animation in DS1. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, even before this plugin came out, there was already a guy that was, he's more talented than me. He was bringing in DS3 animations to Dark Souls Remastered. Ooh. Yeah, this does look a little washed out. Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, right. I that was definitely one where, like, I do appreciate the feedback. But on that one, when I think about it, I'm like, yeah, I feel like you basically got the lower Undead Bird pretty close around that time anyway. Not to mention, I would say that sort of end of the bridge, hopping down onto that building, I think if you tested most like new players who didn't know about it from like watching my Twitter video or even just regular players, I think most people would not know that that was there. I'm pretty sure that is a pretty well hidden thing that like your average player is not going to find, which I like. I like that change is if someone is really curious, they could find it. Yeah, okay, it did change the lighting a little bit. So the green is definitely standing out more. The blue is pretty good. It does feel a bit washed out, which technically Firelink Shrine was pretty washed out. Oh, we got Mixizin. We got Mixizin in the house. Don't you think the wall textures in the shrine look bad? Oh, yeah. Part of that is down to, I mean, obviously the stone texture looks pretty bad too. Yeah, I haven't upscaled all of them. Surprisingly, so another issue with texture upscaling for Dark Souls 1 is that they use a really old form of texture compression, which was the standard around the era of Demon Souls, which admittedly Dark Souls was only, like 2 years later, so. Looks less golden like that DES Golden Nexus mod. Looks less golden. Oh, I don't know the Golden Nexus mod. I just know of the one guy who's bringing in like new baked lighting to Demon Souls. Wanted to ask, the lighting / color in the current version of Firelink seems very brownish to me. What is the reason behind the change in color? Yeah, I mean, so actually you joined at the right time. We're actually looking exactly at that. Yeah, I would like to de-brown it a little bit. The original change or reason for that was that Firelink Shrine, its default lighting setup basically made dynamic shadows basically invisible when I added them. It was actually the original reason for the mod to begin with. That was my starting point, is I'm like, well, I want to add dynamic shadows, but my god, you can barely fucking see them. And that was because of the lighting makeup in Firelink Shrine. It was specifically set to be so bluish and washed out that like dynamic shadows just didn't show up. So I'm like, okay, well, I need it to be more contrasty. And I'm like, well, it's right next to Undead Burg, so I felt like that made sense to like share the lighting setup from that, and I ended up really liking it. I was like, I know this is different, but I'm okay making changes to the original. But yeah, that was the original reason. Yeah, it's very bluish gray. That's just kind of your standard, which, to be fair, there's even a difference between remastered Firelink Shrine and Prepare to Die. Zima, hey soft serve, what's up, Zima? Was there already a collision present on that side of the bridge? I'm trying to remember. I think there may have been. I think there was for a portion of it, but not completely. Yeah, it basically was the dynamic shadows. Like, so my ultimate goal, I think, would be to sort of preserve similar to the original look in some way, but also have the dynamic shadows show up. Like, I think if I can get that, I'd be pretty happy with it. But I'm also fine if it's a bit of a change, In my opinion, the textures look like Play-Doh. Yeah, I mean, there's certainly some of that can be down to the normal mapping versus the actual albedo texture itself. Like the albedo texture can be, or albedo, or however you say it, can look sharp, but the actual like normal map that handles the actual like physicality of it a little bit can look low res. But yeah, this stream is not a texture upscaling stream. That is a very boring thing I will do on the side. But I've upscaled some of these textures. But yeah, I get your point on the textures. One other question: have you thought about changing how the bonfires look? Yeah, that's probably one of the most popular questions I get. Luckily, there is actually already a mod for doing that. It is, I think it's called Dark Soul or DSR Visual Overhaul. There's a part of that that is the, well, actually, let me pull it up, because I do get this question a lot. Oh, there's my Discord. Let's go to Nexus. I guess I should put that as like an optional link to download, because it already exists, so I don't find much reason for me to do it. Well, I mean, not to say that I wouldn't do it. The problem is I don't know how to do it, and you know, I don't want to just copy like their work. Yeah, let's see, Dark Souls Visual Overhaul. I think it's this one. For those bug fixing streams, you have a list of ones. So basically, yeah, I have a big Discord thread that people have posted a shit ton of images of bugs, and that's pretty helpful. I just look at those and go, oh shit, I need to fix those. Currently, I'm trying to affect the coloring in Firelink Shrine, but I am realizing how bad I am at multitasking. I'm so bad at making points to chat, but then also doing something. Like, I think that's why I do enjoy the other side of modding not on stream, because it's just me and I can iterate so much faster. It's just my brain doesn't work in a way that, yeah, this mod restored OG materials, and yeah, this one is really nice for not the texture changes, but like the actual material things. It is pretty nice. And then here is the classic bonfire mod. So you can download that, and then it replaces the, well, actually, I guess we can download that. I'm a little curious. Because I'm okay doing that. I guess my other thing is like, well, I didn't want to download it and then have every video that I make, people go, oh my god, did you restore it? And I go, no, it's actually this mod. That must be a fun thread, everyone telling you what to go fix. Yeah, I mean, there's part of me that like, yeah, I do see like there's 5,000 images and I'm like, well, that's overwhelming. So I've basically just, and that's, look, I mean, even on Nexus, there's like a whole bunch, there's a whole page of just bugs that people are reporting, and it is a bit overwhelming, to be honest. I usually just look at it and go, ooh boy, okay. Well, anyway, like, it's not that I don't want to fix them, it's just, it's overwhelming to see like 10 different things you have to fix all at once, and you're like, ooh. And they're all like varying levels of difficult to fix. Oh, got it. He's replacing the FFX. Really? Oh, okay. So that handles like the torch. Well, please tell me he's... Okay. I wonder if this would work. I'm going to stop bugging you. No, you're fine. Have you considered adding a hole to the Tomb of Giants to be visible from Demon Ruins? Yeah, actually, I already did that. I just haven't really touched Izalith that much. And basically, there was a cut map piece for Izalith, which basically was a facsimile of the Tomb of the Giants. And I actually did shove that into Izalith. And it's hard to see, but you can actually see the big tomb from up there. And so, yeah, I do need to do more work on that. But that was actually a cut map piece that FromSoft didn't end up using. So that way you could sort of... Because you should be able to see Tomb of the Giants from Izalith, right? For sure. And what texture issues arise when you upscale Specular, normal. Yeah, so sometimes the normal are fine to upscale. Sometimes. But what you'll see in game is that they will get really weird and have black squares on them and just start looking real fucking weird. Specular is a known issue. That I even had issues upscaling in DS2. Basically, the upscaler doesn't upscale specular correctly. It will basically treat it as if it's any other style of image, when unfortunately specular, or not unfortunately, but specular maps are handled in a very specific way, and they're supposed to communicate like the shininess, and so the upscaler basically just takes a shit all over that, and it fucks it up. And there is a way you can do it, but I am not a talented texture artist, so you basically, Enrage Vitamins, the creator of DS2 Lighting Engine, has tried to tell me 5,000 different times. Basically, you need to separate the RGB channels on the specular map itself, and then only upscale one of those channels, and then shove all the channels back into a specular map, and then put that back in the game. But I'm not really good at texture editing. I've tried separating the channels, and then I still upscale one of the channels, and then I fuck up. It still fucks up. So I was just like, you know what? I ain't got time for this. I'm going to upscale the albedo, make an improvement, and then move on. And I'll come back to the other stuff. Are there any other major world connecting instances that you have lined up? I've done most of them. At this point, I've done most of the big ones that would be noticeable. It's mostly just tweaking those now. There is one remaining that I haven't done, which is Valley of the Drakes. That is visible from Undead Burg, and to a lesser extent Firelink Shrine, but they have a super fucking fake version that's currently used. And the reason why I haven't done it yet is that the actual mountain texture that they use for the mountain walls is completely different. It's really weird. If you look at Firelink Shrine, the mountain texture that Firelink Shrine uses is not the same texture that like Undead Burg was using for its mountains. And then Darkroot Garden had kind of the same-ish version. And then Valley of the Drakes was using basically this texture. So I've started to correct that by going into Undead Burg and making it use this more reddish style mountain. So that will help me later when, exactly. It's only when I started modding I realized that you could see Valley of the Drakes from Undead Burg, and because they actually had this really fake bridge that you could see that was down there that would lead you into the big opening doors. To where the wraiths are or whatever. Yeah, it's surprising, but yeah, you can totally see it from there. It's not every angle, so that's why it's not been top priority, because I'm like, it's not something I think a lot of people notice. Oh, okay, Carlo did the calculations. Oh, nice. Okay, got it. Let me pop back in here. So if we do it like that, we would have RGB to 1000 converter. That's really cool. Thank you for that. So red should be 0.824. You love to see it. Green 0.873. And then we have brightness for blue should be your standard 1.0. And we will see how that looks. I think if I understand it correctly, the map pieces, we might need to change the map pieces over to a tone correct of 11 as well. Could you add the giant that opens Sen's Fortress in the LOD? Yeah, that's right. He opens, which one is it? Is it the, because I know there's a couple giants up there. I could add a fake one. Part of the problem is, the funny thing is, I added a giant on top of Sen's Fortress, viewable from like Undead Burg, and it turns out he was dying at different points and then giving people like 3,000 souls. Because I kept getting that bug report of like, hey, I'm randomly getting 5,000 souls. or 3,000 souls. And I was like, well, fuck, I don't know why that is. Yeah, we might need to change the map pieces themselves over to tone correct as well. We'll see. Because I think it might be blending a tone correct of 10 and 11 because the map pieces are set to 10, but the collisions are set to 11. I don't actually know if there's a supremacy style thing. Oh, 3,000 souls from nowhere. Yeah, that was happening. I had to delete them. Yeah, the fake one you see from the church bell. Great. Yeah. I'll look into that. How do you feel about the tree in Firelink? Isn't that the one that isn't in the cutscene, right? Isn't that the thing? I wonder if that was just an oversight on their part. Because I would assume when you actually land in Firelink, is their actual intent for like what is supposed to be there, I would assume. Maybe. Because now that I know somewhat how the cutscenes render certain map pieces and when they don't render certain ones, they actually have a certain set, and then they have certain draw groups. And I wonder if they just goofed and that tree isn't a part of the cutscene accidentally. Because my cutscenes are all borked at the moment. And that's because I've messed with... Yeah, probably an oversight. That's my thought, is if I had to guess... Because the tree shows up normally, but not in the cutscene, I would assume an oversight. Mostly just because of how I've fucked up all of the cutscenes. It would be easy to create that problem. And also seeing all of the other glitches that I fixed, yeah, I would assume in the rush to finish this game, they just, like, so many things I fixed, I'm like, oh my god, really? But a lot of them I didn't notice, so I can understand if the dev team themselves didn't notice it, right? So, let's see. Yeah, cutscenes render stuff in and out. You can see or not see elements being big, but that's actually the room around them getting smaller. Well, yeah, and that's actually the weird thing about Anor Londo, is that when you load up the Anor Londo map, it actually loads this tiny, separate little step, or separate room where you see Ornstein, and I think that's where they play the cutscene, and it's really off on its own thing below the entire floor, way off in the distance. It's really strange, but I think that's where they do the cutscene. There's a ton of little things. Deleting that tree is always my first step. Really? Are there a lot of anti-treers out there? That's what you guys are being called, by the way. Y'all hate that goddamn tree? Is it the main tree? Is it the tree right next to the bonfire? Or is it a different one? I skipped the cutscenes, so I don't really notice. Let's see if this looks halfway decent. It's like with the cutscene for Gwendolyn. Yeah. Gwendolyn's thing is really cool too, because you can actually go there and see the actual distance of Gwendolyn's tunnel that they actually made, and it's very long. I have no strong opinions on the tree, just wanted to ask. Oh, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, no, I was just shitting with you. McThizen is very anti-tree, and I respect that. Yeah, it's tree lore. Do you respect wood? I don't think so. The corridor and the illusion, as far as I know, it's below the actual arena. Yeah, you can actually go in the map itself and you can actually fly through the entire tunnel, and it's super fucking long. It's really cool, but yeah, they did it a certain way that I thought was really kind of cool. Okay, so here's Firelink with the updated RGB. McThizen's like, it's probably just me. No, I'm sure there's other people out there that are like, fuck the tree. Is it just this tree here? Is that what we're not liking? Oh, deleting the tree is 100% easier than adding the tree to the cutscene. I don't even know how to add it to the cutscene yet. In the future, the Blender mod or Blender plugin will have cutscene editing. I know there's apparently ways you can do it now. I'm sure maybe it's like event scripting or something, but I'm like, fuck me, dude. Because yeah, right now it doesn't render a ton of my changes, so I have to basically like, really, it's this tree? Interesting. That's like such a foundational tree. Interesting. I mean, I wonder how it looks when you do delete it. I mean, I'll delete it. I'm curious. I've never actually gone and done it. I guess walkability would be a little bit better, right? Oh, funny thing is, there should be a collision that's there that I'd have to edit. What is it about the tree, and why do we not like it? Yeah, I don't know. I think it's because it's not in the cutscene. So that I could see that. Of course, we are presuming that 1.0 in the engine is 255. That's true. Yeah, I would not be surprised if they did it some other fucking weird way, as that's their normal way. But there should be a collision here. But if we delete it, that's kind of cool without it. Well, let's just delete it real quick, just for funsies. I can edit the collision for it. That's not a problem. That's not really that hard at all. Yeah, it's just because it's not in the cutscene, which is likely an oversight. But I actually would be fine deleting it. Really? Because if it's not in the cutscene, I would at least have a good reason for deleting it. Yeah, there is still a collision, so yeah. I can edit that pretty quickly, though. Let's see how it looks. I'm down for that. I kind of like the shadow that comes from it, but then again, it might make Firelink just seem a little bit bigger. I don't remember if it was in the promo trailer. Oh, yeah, that's true. I always like those really early trailers. Like the early view of Darkroot Garden looked fucking awesome and better than what we got. So do we not like the grass too? Oh, no, we like the grass. I like the grass. I'll fight anyone who doesn't like the grass. I think the official teasers. Oh, really? Okay, well, that's certainly more. I mean, that's more evidence that maybe they didn't want the tree there. I could see that. Wait. Yeah, so there's the collision. Well, I think I need to add grass there, right? I think it looks a little weird without anything there. That's fine. Well, there's still there's still a shadow being cast. I'm assuming, but it doesn't look like the tree shadow. Where's that shadow coming from? Where's my shadow X and Y coordinates? I feel like it's the same shadow that's reaching all the way. Oh, is it a big tree branch from above? I think it is. That's right. Oh, well then if it's not in the teasers, I'll delete it. That's fine. Was sitting in the other bench so he could hear Lotric. Really? Oh. Alright. Well, I'll delete the goddamn tree. You've convinced me. The tree is now dead. Let's open up the collision. Oh, should I add like a bench there? Do you think that would be cool? Yeah, how should I flesh out that area now? Because they have like bench. Although these benches actually look different in DS Map Studio than they do in game. That texture doesn't look like how it does in the game, I don't think. Yeah, that looks a little different. Yeah, there's like bench. It does feel like, shouldn't there be two more benches over here? Am I incorrect in that assumption? Oh, so those are all part of a map piece. Nice. So I'll just have to manually slice off this one, and then I can move it here, and then move another one here. Let me know what you guys think of that. So let's pull up the collision though. Could also just be a quick addition if they found people kept falling down the stairs behind where the tree. Maybe, yeah, that's true. Maybe they were like shit. I still like the old Firelink Shrine that you can pull up. I'm trying to remember what map piece that is, but there's an old Firelink Shrine in the files that it just looks worse realistically. So I think it's an LOD issue. It could be, yeah, it could be a draw group issue. Nothing would surprise me with draw group, but I really do think that there should be two. I like it to be symmetrical, so two, and then two benches here. Okay, so the collision that is here is H0, and I already have Blender open. I was doing bridge edits. Those didn't go anywhere, so was trying to flip normals. So, oh, we have Sacr. Ooh, oh my God, big stream. Well, I don't know about big stream, medium size stream. I did hit 6,000 subscribers, so I guess you could say that's partially the reason, but I guess I just want to stream more often. I think it could be cool and fun and cash money. I guess I was also wondering if people would just be exhausted, like if I did one video per day and one stream per day. Like, I have the time to technically do that. Maybe it just means the videos themselves are a little bit shorter, but I don't think that's a big problem. They'd all be bigger than 10 minutes, I'd assume. Personally, could it be I make a video of the things I did in the stream? Like, not just cutting down the stream, but actually, like, the things I fixed in the stream, because I don't think those make for a good video. But if I recorded one separately of going, hey, here's the things we did in the stream, and here's where I'm, thinking, and because that way you cut out. I don't like cutting from streams because you get the chat. I'm talking to chat most of the time. Like, I don't think it makes for good content. Oh, big stream because your work is insane? Oh, yeah. No, I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm very grateful that people have enjoyed it, and it's become a mod that I did not originally envision at all. It literally started just because I wanted the shadows to show up in Firelink Shrine, and then it's grown into like 5,000 different things. So, is it possible to just delete the collision? Well, the problem is that in this case, the collision is a giant collision. So if I deleted the 00000B2, we would fall through the entire world. Well, until there was a different collision. But I have deleted whole ass collisions, like the death camera ones. I've deleted that from like Undead Berg. So you can technically jump from, higher heights from Undead Berg without dying until you actually like hit the ground. Naki, good morning. What's up? What's happening? Dr. P4 says money. Yeah, I mean, we see past the issues of the mod. It's a great project with a great person behind it. Well, that is very sweet of you to say. That is very nice. I do try to be, I don't know, affable, if that's the right word. I always try to be nice. What happened with the lowest Undead Berg idea? Oh, yeah, that is on the back burner. I basically had fucked up the entrance to the catacombs. You couldn't even get into the catacombs at all because of my change. But I still want to do that. I know that, I think it's Xanthric, something. Somebody in my Discord, really cool person, who got into Dark Souls modding recently, was working on an actual pathway down there. The collision for the tree is a perfect outline of the tree. Exactly. Yeah, I figured it would be perfect. Please work on texture someday. Yeah, I mean, I've already done some work on them. I think my view of the textures is more limited than others, where, at least for this project, I don't want to wholly replace them. Because I personally, at least in that angle, I want to hew close to the original intent of the textures. So the way I'm doing it is adding detail, but is it a massive change? No, but I'm generally changing the textures that are the worst offenders, because there are some really bad ones. And if I can make them fit better with the other textures, because I actually think a decent amount of the Dark Souls Remastered textures are pretty good, like decent quality, right? There are actually a good amount of instances I've found between Prepare to Die and Remastered where they doubled the texture resolution. Oh, Zomac, yeah. So Remastered actually should get credit for higher resolution textures. Not in everywhere. There are still low resolution ones, but there actually are instances where it's higher resolution than Prepare to Die. I do think there's way too much of a narrative with some people that Prepare to Die looks better than Remastered in every case. And I go, that is obviously subjective. I think there are cases where that actually is true. I think material handling, metals, there are certain cases where for sure. I think there's tone mapping changes. But I think in an actual side-by-side comparison, I think Remastered does win a decent amount. And most of that is down to the upgrade from DX9 to DX11. I think it actually did handle some materials quite well. It also is a much cleaner presentation, because whenever you use DS Fix, which is obviously the only thing recommended, like that is, you need to use that with Prepare to Die Edition. It's an amazing mod. It's an amazing achievement for modding. It's probably one of the most impressive modding things I've ever seen, honestly, for what they did and how they fixed that version. But I feel like you can tell it. When I play Prepare to Die, it's hard to explain, but it looks crispy, but not a good style of crispy. It looks over sharpened. I think that's my problem with Prepare to Die, and I think it's the way that they're doing the resolution, because I actually don't know how they're doing the resolution internally, because the game was stuck at 720p, right? Even though it had resolution options, it was like natively it was stuck at 720p. I feel like what they're doing is doing some sort of nearest neighbor upscaling or bilinear, or they're doing something, because I don't feel like it's a native higher resolution with DS Fix. Like, I still think it looks fine, but it looks over sharpened to me, and that is classically what you get from upscaling. So I do feel like they're doing some form of that, because Remastered, when you hop in like back to back between the two of them, you can tell a difference in the clarity. Remastered is natively rendering at these higher resolutions. That doesn't get talked about a lot, but I do feel like that's how that's what's happening. So don't get me wrong, I love Prepare to Die. Prepare to Die does a lot of things better, and I mean, why else would I have a Prepare to Die project that I look at a lot for reference? I absolutely do. And then that's also why I make those videos where I play the original PS3 version, because I do want inspiration from that. Like, if there is anything that is the actual like Bible, if there was a canonical visual Bible of what is the official version, yeah, I mean, it would be the original PS3 one, which admittedly, from what I know, Prepare to Die is pretty much just that. But that's actually the interesting thing. I'm really bad at multitasking, so I know the screen isn't changing, but let's import a collision before I forget. No, it's the Switch version. So Switch, yeah, I mean, I would definitely say that Dark Souls does not look as good as Bloodborne, but that's a bit more complicated, right? So in ways, it looks better than Bloodborne because it has TAA, right? So it's better for anti-aliasing. Bloodborne has essentially none. Bloodborne is stuck at 1080p, but really like a 900p internally. And then Bloodborne has really bad textures in a lot of areas. But what does Bloodborne have that Dark Souls does not? So Bloodborne has a physically based rendering for its textures, for a lot of its materials. It has a much higher density of geometry. So, and yeah, as Carlo was saying here, yes, the motion blur, TAA, Dark Souls Remastered has those advantages that Bloodborne does not. And that's just simply down to Dark Souls Remastered coming out in 2018, and Bloodborne was made from 2012 to 2013-ish, and then it came out in 2015. So, like, it was a moving target. I will say Bloodborne technically supports screen space reflections. It has a lot of... Its ambient occlusion is better in some ways and also worse in other ways. So I guess I would say there's a lot of nuance in that discussion. The biggest difference between the two is geometric density, where Bloodborne is much closer to DS3 than it is Dark Souls 1. Dark Souls 1 is very geometrically simple. Because it was a PS3 game. Although this is actually an interesting case where Rage Vitamins, the guy who made the DS2 lighting engine, I posted a video of my work on Demon Souls PS3. There are actually a lot of instances in that where you're like, damn, that's more geometry that it's rendering than even in DS1 or DS2. Demon Souls holds up really fucking well. And then it also does not hold up well in some other areas. Textures. The textures are fucking awful. So let's import the collision. Do you think you're going to add adjustable ball bag sizes? What? What the fuck? That is not on the table. But I mean, if you guys make a change.org petition for bigger balls in Dark Souls, then okay. I mean, I don't know how to do that, but I'll make that a separate mod maybe. Have you noticed any major differences in Prepare to Die versus PS3? No, but that's because I haven't really done them side by side. I would be curious if there are. I mean, I would assume so. Could Irithyll in DS1 be possible? I think it's technically possible. I personally wouldn't want to do that, I think. But I think as a general question of is it possible? Yes, it's technically possible. If I've learned anything from the Souls modding community, basically anything is possible. If you put enough time to it, you can. There's some ridiculous people doing ridiculous things, and so yeah, I'm sure you could bring those models back. Could you do it effectively? I don't know. Could it look good? That's a different question. Like technically, even now, I'm sure you could do it for just exporting them to an FBX file and then shoving that FBX file back into a Dark Souls Remastered capable Fire file. Zentor said he's going to do it, so there you go. You go for it. You just have to pick a project and start working on it, and it's pretty great. You'll learn a lot on the way, and I'm glad there are people smarter than me in the Souls modding community that will do crazy things. Irithyll's mid, fight me. Oh no, Chuck Steak. Oh no. Do we have a contrarian? Maybe. I don't know. Irithyll's okay. Oh, the tree is not in this collision. Oh, really? Okay, interesting. Oh, that's what Thizin was saying earlier. It is actually just a separate collision. My bad. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I thought it was. I think we're back. Maybe. Oh, can I get timestamps? Oh shit, that's nice. Okay, it says we're live. I don't know if that's true. Oh, it was top chat? Nah. Yeah, my internet was like, I'm done, dog. I'm fucking done. Okay, so we see the tree collision. We're back. Oh, there's Zormak. What up, Zormak? No, your ISP's off the hook on this one. Yeah, so it was just the tree collision, but I wonder if these are not part of the collision anymore. But let me see. Yeah, I don't think those are part of the collision. Interesting. Yeah, they're not in this collision. Oh, okay. Well, duly goddamn noted. So that's map piece 2000B2. Well, let's load in that map piece. Fiverr map 2000B2. Because I want to make sure you can walk on that, right? Okay, let's find the right one. I hate this giant list. I never can find anything. Oh, 2000B2. I think we found it. I want to get into game dev stuff myself, but first I think I would like to take on a project like Irithyll. Well, I mean, I would say that modding is a really good gateway drug into game development, because it's obviously very much like adjacent to game development, because you're already using tools, you're using modding tools, you're using modeling tools, your map placement. Like you're already doing a lot of the things that you would do in game development. There are many instances where my feet go underground in the mod. Really? Yeah, it would. Yeah, it would be down to the collisions. It's not that I haven't deleted a lot of collisions. I've only ever deleted ones that were for death camera related stuff, and so they weren't what your feet were walking on. Honestly, a lot of the collisions where your feet will go through something, those are the default collisions. Not all of them. I think there are some where, because they handled them differently. There's the high res ones, high res collisions, and then the lower res collisions. The higher res ones are used for the kinematics on your foot to like have your foot move. Yeah, I would definitely do the Irithyll, because yeah, Irithyll is technically just what is below Anorlando, right? The lower level. Yeah, H100B2 is the collision for the tree. Yes. Well, yes. If it was a totally missing collision, yes, you would just fall through. I guess I meant more if it was a misaligned collision, like it wasn't high enough. But yeah, the high res might not be in the right spot. Which, because I've mostly messed with the low res one, because that's the one that actually makes more of an impact and doesn't make me fall through the world. So I've definitely focused more on that. Yeah, so these are not part of it. I mean, I guess I could just... Yeah, that's true. I could just edit the tree collision. That makes a lot more sense, right? Yeah, let's just edit the tree collision. Let's just do that. Because I haven't deleted that collision. I just like to start fresh. Let's just delete that one. Let's go simple on this one. And you said it was H100B2. You love to see it. So let's import map collision. Oh yeah, it really is. Nifty. Nifty. Oh, you love to see it. Oh, we're gonna slice the hell out of this goddamn tree. Get out of here, dog. Okay, well, I didn't mean that, but... Yeah, because there's two of them. You love to see it. Well, really, I can actually just find out which submesh that it's in. Yep, it's in H submesh 1. All right. Oh, yeah. So luckily the submesh is the entire thing. Oh, you love to see it. Eat that. Oh, baby. Look at that. And the tree has been vanquished. Easy peasy. I have to mess with both for the cliff path. Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, Zormak is the one working on that cliff path, which I don't envy you. That sounds like hell. Hence why I made my goofy one, and then I deleted my goofy path down there. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put that on the back burner. I have bigger bugs to fix and stuff. That's like a stretch goal, right? Explorable Anorlando. Yeah, there's a lot of areas that could be expanded for sure. You should make the wall or the well fall into New Londo. That would be actually pretty funny. The one thing I've never really figured out, but I've seen like the comments on like transitioning to other levels are done by like the nav meshes being perfectly like aligned, and then you have to have a connect collision that perfectly like has the assets rendered. It's a lot more complicated. It would look good in Dark Root. That's true, actually. Yeah, why wouldn't? Yeah, those trees actually are pretty fucking awesome. When I delete the whole collision, it gives me problems. Really? You have to save one face of it? Yeah, some of these things are a little goofy. I'll give you that. They're definitely a little fucking weird. Okay. Alright. So we kicked out that collision. Great. Love to see it. We have deleted the tree. We've modified the collision, so technically we should be golden. Well, actually, no, I don't even need to resave. Oh, my remastered was like, oh shit, kick me out. Right now, besides Archthrones, I don't think there are any big projects. So I would like to add that to make it like the Bethesda modding community. Yeah, I mean, the Bethesda modding community is certainly the most popular. Like, I don't think there's anything truly compared to Bethesda modding of their games. Like, it's nuts. The things they were doing in Starfield within like the first 3 days, crazy. Can you just move the stray collision face underground? Whoa, which collision face? You just mean a collision in general? Can you just move that? Oh, do you mean just move a collision down to like under the well? Oh, got it, because yeah, you're the same one that said that. Well, yes, but the problem is it still isn't rendering in the real New Londo if you actually want the real New Londo to show up. Like, technically I could do that where I just put all of New Londo into like the Firelink Shrine map, but it won't be the real New Londo and it won't have all the events. And so yeah, it's tough because, and then I guess you could have those collisions have certain draw groups, but then they have to, yeah, it ends up being pretty Doom modders. Yeah, well, I guess for me, the Doom community, like, are they as, like, how, well, I guess with Doom, it's less, I don't know, I don't want to say it's less moddable. It obviously is moddable, but I'm like, is there just less there to be done? Because, like, the base game is already so amazing and ridiculous that I guess, like, I don't see the Doom games as, like, any technical related problems because they're fucking optimized to hell, and I guess you just new content. I guess I'm just ignorant of that I've never seen any sort of Doom mods. And I guess I'm specifically speaking of like 2016 and Doom Eternal. Like, I guess I don't see those as like in the top list of modded games. I could be wrong. Perhaps I just haven't seen it, but generally I see all of the Bethesda games. Those are all the top modded games by like a goddamn mile. And I would say the Dark Souls games are certainly, yeah, they don't get mods per se. They get hella lots of new maps. Okay. Yeah, I mean, obviously the original Doom games are like the, oh, no tree. Oh, it's beautiful. Oh, they actually had floating foliage right behind it. Well, of course they did. Dark Shingo, morning everybody. Morning from SoftServe. What's up? What's up, Dark Shingo? Paralam21, yo. Also, I am streaming this in actual 1080p. So when the VOD is automatically up on YouTube, it will now be in 1080p, not fucking 720p because of how YouTube apparently doesn't like 936p. So stupid. It's one of the few things you can say Twitch does better. Like, Twitch actually understands 936p is 936p. And YouTube just goes, well, we don't know what that is. That is 720p, my dude. It's like, okay, I don't agree with that, but okay. Yeah, I should add 2 benches, right? I definitely feel like 2 benches. Let's see. What is that? So that is 2000 B2. Let's do that real quick. Although, I guess I won't touch that collision. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter, but whatever. Let's just start new. I like to keep it simple. KISS. Keep it simple. The things possible with Doom Source Ports is insane. It's not just maps. Well, yeah, you mean the older Doom games where they've released like the source code for it at this point? You can kind of do basically whatever the fuck you want. I mean, I love the engines behind all the Doom games. 2 benches and an Oswald? Hell yeah, dog. There's a big amount of reskin mods. Oh yeah, I know the first Doom has gotten a lot of things. Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty out of the loop, but I know like obviously like some of the most geeky, cool ass original modding things were kind of like with the original Doom, right? I mean, we wouldn't have a lot of games we have now if it wasn't for the original Doom. So, I mean, obviously the Elder Scrolls series can, thank the Doom game for sort of like, because isn't Daggerfall essentially like the way that it was kind of procedurally generated, but the way that it worked and sort of the engine technology was similar, right? I could be wrong on that. I'm talking out of my ass on that. Anytime I go outside of Dark Souls, I used to be a big Elder Scrolls person, so I can say that. I used to be a giant fucking Elder Scrolls person, but really it was Elder Scrolls 3, Morrowind. That was actually some of the first mods I ever downloaded for any game was Morrowind. And I love that they're still fucking working on that game. OpenMW is fucking awesome. They created their own rendering engine specifically designed to use all of the original assets. Like, come on. That's so cool. It's 2000 B2. I also realize I haven't fixed any bugs. We're jamming, okay? We're just jamming. Who gives a shit? No one would expect me to be on task. I'm not even on task in my own goddamn videos. So I think everyone goes, yeah, this is basically from soft services. We don't expect anything better here. Fiverr import. Let's do, God fucking damn it. I already forgot what it is. 2000 B2. Jesus Christ. Yeah, 2000 B2. Let's add some benches. We need a couple of them. I saw it. Yeah, 2000 B2. Let's import map piece part. There we go. View selected. Oh, we got our benches. Oh, it's such a clean view too. Oh, so by the way, the Altamore guy that I posted in my Discord, and I retweet their tweets all the time, where they're basically working on like a deferred rendering version of Dark Souls 1. And like they're doing new shadows, and they were looking into doing path traced baked shadows for Dark Souls 1. And so they DM'd me on Discord of like, hey man, do you know where these are stored or yada yada? And I was like, oh my god, please let me help you in any way I can. Please let me help you. You're doing awesome things with Dark Souls. And if it means better shadows and a better rendering technique, I'm so in. Dark Souls 1 needs that. But they were showing me today that they got Dark Souls Remastered or DS Map Studio, because whenever you view things in DS Map Studio, like the textures, like they are textured, but they have none of the actually physically based properties. Like it is literally the most basic version of the texture. There's no processing going on. This is the hanging out part. That's true. Yeah, I guess honestly at this point, it's mostly just going to be hanging out. Like I'm doing mod work, but it's hard to get the mod work done because I really enjoy talking with you guys. So it's hard for me to just say, well, fuck chat, and then I'm going to go work on mod stuff. I'm not good at that. I don't know that I ever will be. What was I talking about? The shadows and I have a jar next to me in Firelink that can't be broken. I broke it, reloaded, and now the pieces are floating there. Yeah, that's kind of an ongoing issue with the break object method that the game engine uses. It happens to me all the time where it breaks, and then when you reload, it like is there, but you can walk through it. Is that the guy who did the DS2 lighting mod? It is actually not. That is Rage Vitamins. He has thought about doing a DS1 lighting engine mod, and I have, of course, recommended that, yes, that is a great idea. Please do that. It's going to be a lot of work, though. And then there's a separate guy who is doing a shader overhaul, which has been released on Nexus, where they found the debug version of the shaders, like the DX11 shaders, that Q-Lock somehow left in there. And they're basically... That was loud. Thank you, Zarvius. Although on here, subscribing means something different than it does on Twitch, but it details. But I appreciate you. Thank you. And yeah, they're doing a shader overhaul that actually changes the way that it treats most everything. So it's really cool. But it doesn't really work with my mod currently. I DM'd the guy about it, but I haven't heard back. So, and then the other one, they're actually, well, let me pull up Twitter real quick. That's a good reminder to pull up Twitter. Yeah, so it's this Altimore guy or person. I don't actually know. I use that in a non-gendered specific way where I go, this homie, this dude. So you can see here they're showing the light map. They got the light maps to actually show up, I think, in DS Map Studio. And if you go to the profile, so they were showing this where they actually have like these soft shadows. And this is the room right before Guinevere. And so they actually have like these soft shadows that obviously Dark Souls 1 does not have. And they say, I've implemented the necessary engine side support for scaling shadow penumbra with the distance from the light blocker. And we have shadow map rendering and fiber shader param logic almost fully reverse engineered. So very cool. And then here's soft shadows in indirectly lit areas. So this is obviously right up to Undead Parish. And basically I've been retweeting the shit out of these things. And so I was really surprised when I got a DM from them on Discord where I was like, asking like where they were storing the baked lighting maps, and I was like, boy, do I have an answer for you. That has been my main thing, is destroying those. So here you goddamn go. Oh, it looks like they're also doing some sort of Quake map pack or something. Just really cool. I was like, oh my god, this work is amazing and I must support it in any way I can. So the normals are also broken, but no one notices it. Oh, okay. Well, fuck it. No one notices. So here's what we were doing. We were adding benches. Let's edit. All right. We're gonna grab some faces here because we're gonna steal one of these. All right. I'm gonna do this in a really stupid way, a nice, precise, slow way. I don't want to grab all of it, you know. I just want to grab a little bit, you know. Let's grab a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. We just grab a little bit of this bench. And I got a comment on my last video that they were like, you know, it is really painful to watch you use Blender since I've used Maya for like 300 years. And I was like, yeah, I get that. I mean, that's what I said in the video too, where I'm like, I understand people are going to be like, oh my god, there are 5,000 better ways of doing things. But I'm like, dude, that's Blender in a goddamn nutshell. Blender is a ridiculous tool that you can do anything 5,000 different ways. So, like, I'm just going to learn really slowly in my own method, which is not that I'll never watch tutorials. I just kind of prefer the doing approach, where I just do stuff and then I slowly learn, oh, well, that was a shitty way of doing it. Right? Like, that's kind of my way of learning, which I understand is not a super popular route, but I like it. I mean, that's how I learned DS Map Studio. That's how I learned every tool I didn't know how to use before I started modding. So that's just kind of my messy ass method. And, you know, I will go wireframe mode for some of this. Although realistically, it probably is easier just to go and grab all of it, but because then you can just deselect what you don't want. But I also find it sort of meditative to just slowly be clicking little triangles that you want. Is it safe to install the permanent infusion visual mod? I don't even know what the permanent infusion mod is, to be honest. It edits the game param file. Oh, well, if it's just the game param, I think you should be fine. The only things I had done that modified the game param file was the shop lineup of the vendor that I gave him the skull lantern. But I think that was my only actual, like, game param edit. Everything else was the draw param. So I think that should be fine. Wait, select one face and then get out. Select one face and press L? Oh shit. Oh my god. Oh my god. So then you do shift and then another. Oh my god. Oh my god, Zormak? You fucking legend. Oh my god. Oh my god. That is. I'm gonna use that. That just changed my life. That just changed my goddamn life. Oh my god, really? Just fucking L? Just L? Oh my god, that's gonna save me 8 years of time off my life. See, now those are the tips I love. That's an easy one, where they go, literally just press L, dog. And then I go, well, fuck me. I mean, okay, that's way better. I'm not gonna be stubborn on that. That's better. That's better. Connected faces, vertices, or edges. Oh my god, yes. Good, good. Okay, well, let's, so I think if I just duplicate that, woo, baby. Now we're cooking with gas here. Now we're cooking with gas. All right, let's see if we can get a little bit of, oh yeah, their benches are kind of cattywampus, right? You can plus and minus them too? Oh my god. But connected does not mean intersected. Oh, right, that makes sense. The power of tutorial. Yeah, it is, but I would say that's a thing where if I was looking for a tutorial, I feel like it would be one nugget inside of a tutorial that had like 5,000 other things mentioned, and it can be overwhelming. So I'm in a unique position where I can get people who just comment and say, by the way, here's just one little small tip. And I can learn them very piecemeal, where I'm learning by doing and learning the foundation of moving and doing different things, but then someone can just go, oh, here's a tiny little tip. And I find that a lot more helpful than like, hey, go watch this 10-minute video. I don't really like that, to be honest, but I know it's different for everyone, but I kind of don't fucking like that. Well, actually, this first bench worked out pretty well. I kind of like that spot. It's a little into the ground, but that's fine, because that's kind of like what the other ones are. Although it matches a little bit too much this one, so I should rotate it. Oh, nice. And then maybe make sure it looks different. Tutorials usually specific do not mention these unless you go for a full short. Yeah, I guess that's true. Well, exactly. Blender is such an ungodly, amazing, and large tool that can almost do anything at this point. So I would wonder like how long tutorials are. And McThizen, you're 100% correct. Yeah, easier to remember something when it's relevant. Like when when it's something like that, I will never forget that now. That is like 100%. And then Alt plus middle mouse button. Oh. Oh, so it just like jumps to. Oh. Oh, that's nifty. Cool. I've been getting really used to the shift and then use the middle mouse button to kind of like move and then zoom a little bit. And then but it's Alt. Whoa, that's cool. Ooh, I like that. I'll remember that. Thank you, Tim. That's very nice. Because I have noticed that with the once you go too far in with your zoom, it then becomes like really sluggish. And honestly, I wish Blender had the exact same control setup as DS Map Studio, but I understand Blender is obviously the important tool that everyone uses, so it's going to have supremacy. But oh, just click it. Yeah, you can just I was clicking, but I was also dragging at the same time. Yeah, you can just go boop 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 boop. That's cool. And then I just do my little movement, but okay, well we have our first bench. I think it looks well. Actually, let me move it just a bit. I need to make room for another bench. And then let's do duplicate. Wow. Okay, and then we rotate. Wow. Okay, it's a little strange looking. No big deal. No big deal. Okay. I think I can line it up with a little bit more this way. Pull it up that way. Whoop. Didn't mean to do that. Control Z is a godsend. I love a Control Z. I wish I could Control Z in real life, but it's not in the cards. It's not in the cards. Oh, nice. All right, we'll get it right. We'll get it right. So we got different heights. What if this one was? Try to make it look different than the other ones, for sure. Although now there's like 4 here, and then these 2 are kind of off way over there. Okay. Interesting. Well, let's see how that looks for now. I just got to say that bench isn't in the cutscene either. I know, but I like the extra benches. Although in the future, they will be in the cutscene. Once I can cutscene edit easier using the Blender plugin in the future. It just hasn't been released fully. But yeah, it's not in the cutscene, but that's fine. I guess I'm not fully. I missed the tree already. Oh God, we're gonna get the pro tree people and the anti tree people, and I'll be like, you know what? I need to go eeny meeny miny boom. I'm gonna. Yeah. Well, it looks weird if there's nothing there. I feel like it being blank is kind of like, even if I add grass, the grass isn't going to be in the cutscene. I will not let that cutscene decide my life. I am a strong, confident woman, and I will... Have you found the way to counter the light leakage in most areas? Well, partially. I mean, a big part of that is... Sorry for bringing it up. Oh, no, you're fine. I'm shitting with you guys. I'm just messing with you. Yeah, I mean, light leakage is mostly down to a lot of the things not being shadow sources. And so, yeah, it would let the light through, but they were doing that because they wanted certain things to be shadowed, but then they were also one-sided meshes. And so then fixing that ends up making the back faces actually render, which you can turn that on in Fiverr Editor, which is sick. And I've done that already on most things. So, yeah, I mean, I've mostly fixed that, but not completely. There's still cases of shit like that, right? I didn't mean to start the tree war. I know. The nerve. I don't know. I'll see how they look. It's whatever. I guess we'll bring in the collision again. The different collision, which is the 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Is that bench canon? You bet your ass it is. It's the most canon of canon things that have ever been canoned. I think it's 0. Yeah. Nice. Let's select this object mode, and then we're selecting faces, and then you go L. Oh my God, I love L. L is amazing. L's my new favorite letter. 100%. New favorite letter. Yeah, it's his lunging bench. He's jamming. Do you have any concerns about additional trees, dark root messing with the original level design? Not really. I mean, I haven't really added any trees in Darkroot that are ground level where the character is at. So they're all just visual trees in the distance. So I haven't actually changed any level design based trees in Darkroot. But there is a patch in Darkroot. There's a couple that are like super open and they don't have any trees, and it's really weird. Adding trees there would be a good idea. And now that I know how to do the collisions, I could definitely do that. Hawkeye made a 5-hour. Oh God, I bet they did. Wait till you find H and Alt H. Oh man, I'm gonna leave that for a future thing. Let's go into our collision for a second and add it to both. We need to do submesh 0. Maybe. Wait, what? I am selected. What are you talking about? I'm select. Hey, light that up. Light up the copy edit mesh thing. Do what I tell you to do, okay? Right. Mhm. Okay. Well, try it again, dog. Shit. Yeah, getting used to all the different buttons. Yeah. All right, I have selected it. Oh, okay. Oh, not that one. Yeah, deselect. Wait, what? Wait, do I have to copy them to both? What the hell is going on? This is new. Normally it lets me just copy to one submesh. Like, weird. It's only letting me now copy it when I have both the high res and low res selected. That's new. I've legit not had to do that for all of my other collision editing. Well, alright. I mean, go off, I suppose. That's fucking weird. What the shit? Yeah, it didn't add it to the submesh 0. Okay, bitch, I'll copy it from the high res one then. However, I need to fucking money launder this thing over to submesh 0. I'll do it. I'll fucking do it, man. Don't test me. That's quirky. Normally it just lets me copy it directly to whatever submesh I goddamn want. Not so. Okay. Yeah, see now I can copy it between this. Or did it? Did it? I don't think it copied it. Yeah, it didn't copy them to the submesh 0. It said it did, but it did not. Hey, motherfucker. I'm telling you to do it, okay? I'm telling you to do this. You are required by modding law to do what I tell you. Normally you do not have issues with this, dog. I'm probably just doing something wrong, but it's fine. Yeah, normally I can just select the thing that I want. Edit. L. Well, what if I just do that? Okay. Scandalous. Why will it not let me edit the mesh selection and copy it over, but it only lets me take it to the high-res one? That has never happened before. You sons of bitches. Yeah, what the... Oh, okay. This is weird. Yeah, it's just saying that ain't gonna happen, dog. But I can copy it to the high res. Huh. Okay. You need to separate them, I think. Really? That's weird. I've never run into that before. Okay. Let me... Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I guess I never separated the actual, like, benches. I just duplicated them. But maybe... What about... I never had to actually, like, separate them, though. Surprisingly. I've never had to do that. I've weirdly been able to... I could literally just split them. And then generally it was like, oh, well, shit, cool. Okay. Yeah, but then it creates its own, like, weird submesh 0.0001. I don't really want to do that. Because once again, that's still the... That's the H. I need it to be into the I. Oh, well, see, then I'm selecting the two, and it should... Yeah, I've never had to do that before. It weirdly has always let me copy it straight to it. So I don't know if this collision's just being fucking weird. I might just restart Blender. Realistically, yeah, this always worked for me, so... Weird. Very weird. So now we have weird submesh. I mean, the fact that it's a separate submesh is obviously nice for when it comes to... Or wait, why the fuck is submesh 0.01 also all of these fucking things? What in the holy goddamn hell is going on? Oh, and now it won't select it. Oh my god. I've made a hash of it. Yeah. Yeah, 0.001 should definitely be just these, but I still think that's not going to work. Yeah, see, that worked correctly. Select all. It's just the two of those. Weirdly, you cannot, it will not copy it to... Well, what if I go to submesh 1? Oh, that worked. Yeah, so it did add it to submesh 1. Alright. Weird. Well, I'll delete this one. I don't want that one. Because I've had issues when you start adding new submeshes to a collision. It goes, whoa, bro. What the fuck are you doing, dog? Yeah, so now submesh 1 includes benches. Okay. That is good. That is good. That's what we want. Oh my god, and it actually exported correctly. Normally that's where you get into like 5,000 fucking issues. Where it goes, whoa. Wow, I shouldn't even have to reload the... or copy over anything from DS Map Studio. I don't think so. Oh, really? Oh, I'm a dummy. I didn't save my file. Oops. Oopsie. I knew that. I totally knew that. I do have an issue with character light with a sort of bluish halo around it. Is that part of light leakage? I don't know. That one, I don't know. There's so many things that affect. And it's also such a... Also wanted to let you know, I was happy to find out you were actually aware the church looked bad and flat. aware the church looked bad and flat. Which church looked bad and flat? Oh my god, we have benches! We have benches, and we have kinematics! Oh my god, you love to see it. You love to see it. Wow. Yeah, still don't really like the colors of the area. Looks really like washed out. Not liking that. TBH. But it's in 11 here. I'm assuming you're talking about the church parish, the undead parish. Looks really good now. Oh, you mean the color profile? Is this good? Interior of the Gargoyle Church. Oh yeah, yes, yeah, that looked like ass. And I had known that it looked bad for a while. Because I stripped out the baked lighting, and that area relied on baked lighting a lot. And I had just also been bad with Undead Burg and not having like separate light IDs for interiors. Kind of looks similar to the DS3 leaked screenshots. Y'all liking this? Is this good? Doesn't seem washed out. Really? Oh, the benches look good. Yeah, I agree with that. Man, OBS is running like, or maybe that's just the OBS preview, but it looks like dog shit. But oh, the frames per second, not the look. I don't know. Oh, I think it's the monitor I'm viewing it on, maybe. The color, I think, it still needs some tweaking with a bit more green and a bit less red. Yeah, I would agree with that. So if I go... and then 0.79. So let's crank down the red. Okay, didn't mean to go back to the game. Didn't mean to go back to the game. Are you planning on doing anything with the painted world? I actually already have. I just haven't really talked about it much. I added water to the lower part of it, but that's like work in progress. I've added dynamic shadows to most of it. I've updated a good amount of the textures for it, and that's actually already in the current version of the mod. I just really haven't talked about it because I also wasn't like super happy with it yet. It works in a really weird way, and like dynamic shadows kind of, I don't know, because it's the way that shadows seems very desaturated. Yeah, right? Okay, good. I'm glad I'm not alone in that, because I'm like, that looks, it needs a little bit more contrast. I might just pop up the, yeah, let me do that real quick. So the actual saturation I might increase, because I think it just looks very desaturated. Which I do understand. There's going to be a decent chunk of people that are like, oh, I want it desaturated. And for those people, I will say, download Reshade, my friend. Download Reshade, my friend. Let's see. Yeah, because in the end, yeah, it's going to be kind of, I would prefer it to be more contrasty. Just in general, like that's what I do to DS3. Like, DS3 is monochromatic as fuck. And it's begging for some color. And so I usually use a reshade to fix that. Okay, well that fixed the desaturation a little bit. I'm so stoked to explore the rest of the world. Next up for me is Blighttown. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Blighttown has some nice upgrades. I haven't really messed with Blighttown in a while, but changing the point light colors for all the torches, adding actual like reflective water down there I really like. Adding manually like more torches along the way I thought was really cool, and big black tree in the background looks bad. Oh, well partially that's because it's in the distance and it's like getting hit by the sun. And I mean, fun fact, that's actually an upgrade from where it was. Like in the background, it used to be a flat image. Too much less red and too much green now, at least from the live. So now we're missing red. Well, okay, then I have to basically just undo the exact red that I just... looks like a giant cube with branches. I mean, to be fair, that's the actual Great Hollow model. Like, what it used to be is a flat goddamn image of a low-res tree. So this is an upgrade, you know. Beyond this, I mean, do I make it more round? I mean, that is the Great Hollow, the actual model for it. So I'm pretty okay with that. The no distant fog, yeah, I could see that. I mean, the problem is the game doesn't actually support volumetric fog, so like you have to fake it. So if I come up with some way of just making it, you know, fog in the distance, sure. Yeah, it does seem like it's lacking a bit of red. But I can also see why I don't, like in real time, there just ends up being a ton of feedback of, well, I like that, but I don't like that. And then another person chimes in and goes, yeah, but I think that's too green. But the other person says, I think that's too red. But then, no, I think that should be a little bit more blue. And then it just becomes an absolute, you know, ridiculous fest of turn the red and the blue and the blah, 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 you know. So I think I'm going to edit the colors in my own time. because I think the stream chat just gets a little too much into that, where there's too many different opinions and cooks in the kitchen. So I'm not gonna do that. Let's go do the other things, which is actually go fix the bugs, because fixing the bugs are not artistic things, and that's easier for my brain. So yeah, I like the tree in the background. I think if someone doesn't like the look of that, I'd be like, well, remember what it originally was, which was a flat PNG. So it's better than that now. You take the wins. Yeah. Well, distance fog. Well, what I mean, the volumetric fog and how that would handle things in the distance. And so adding fog in this game is not as easy as it is adding fog in more modern things, is what I mean. So, yeah. But adding fog, like, I can steal fog from either New Londo, but that doesn't look right at all the angles. It looks really fucking bad, actually, from a lot of angles. And so I, like, that's easier said than done. So, but I appreciate that. Map and param, got it. I think I'm like multi-copying it. Well, I'm gonna be here all day messing with these colors. So, you know, I'm gonna stop wherever I get to with this. I'm gonna stop for now, and then let's go fix other glitches. Yeah, okay. Moving on. I know late last night there was a glitch up here that I'll show that I had known about for a long time. I just hadn't done anything about it. It's the actual light shafts that are unique to... Oh, I can't use the elevator. What am I talking about? I guess I'll log into my better character. I love the choices you are making, for what it's worth. Well, thank you. Hell yeah. I appreciate that. I understand the divide between giving feedback and... Yeah, like, I don't know. It does get to a point after a while where it's like you have 8 different people saying 8 different things, and it's like, well, yeah, I'm not going to wade through that of 8 different opinions, so I'm just not going to do that. Yeah, let's go to that. Let's go to that character. Is it possible to add cloth physics? I mean, I think it's technically possible. I think, wasn't it Stayed or someone had some really work in progress thing ages ago of like showing a cloak have physics, but it was like looked kind of weird and really early version. So it's technically possible, obviously. Like the engine technically supports it, but I'm assuming, like, so I don't know. I'd like to see it though. I think it'd be cool as hell. Because obviously you get that in Bloodborne, and that looks fucking awesome. DS3 and whatnot. So, all right. What were the other things I was fixing? What's up, nerd? Oh, I also took the what's his name? The guy that came out with the Infina detail mod. The Infinite Detail mod, where, yeah, basically what you can do, this SFX is visible from up here because you can just modify the particle effect down there to not be connected to a collision or a map piece. You can just keep it blank, and then it goes, oh, I guess we should just render that from wherever, right? And I went, yeah, you should. You absolutely should. That one undead has cloth physics, unless it's baked in. Do you prefer soft serve or hard ice cream? I would go soft serve, I think, generally. I think that's my... the fact that you take our feedback into consideration is really nice. Yeah, I mean, I think it's only polite to, and it's the right thing to do, is to listen to feedback. I don't think I have to, but I do think it'd be weird if I didn't, you know? Not to mention, I obviously get stuck in my little hole of modding that if... in water reflections, if fire is missing, oh yeah, don't report that. That is actually just, as far as I can tell, that's just a limitation to not having SFXs in reflections. As far as I can tell, that just doesn't seem to happen. Because the SFX is obviously being rendered. You know, that happens in Undead Asylum. Like, it just doesn't show up in the reflection. And I don't know how to tell it to show up in the reflection. I'd assume that's a shader level modification. I don't know, really. But yeah, I wouldn't report that. That's just a known limitation, weirdly enough. For now. This room has also been really weird, is that you can see on the floor, it like transitions to this darker texture. And I don't really know why, as it's not a shadow related thing, as there's obviously a larger map piece at play here, but it just gets darker. And as far as I can tell, it's not like, I don't think there's a geometric like seam here, right? That to me has always been kind of weird. Where I'm like, what the fuck? Let's unload that. Let's go to Undead Bird. For example, the fire has... Really? Because in vanilla, for example, the fire hand... Wait. What's the fire hand? Oh, do you mean like the fire... spell or incantation or whatever the hell it is? I just mean like the torches. As far as I know, those torches didn't reflect in the base game. Could be wrong. I don't see any setting for that, but once again, could be wrong. I don't think it's in the MTD. Oh, the pyro glove? Yeah, maybe. Well, as far as I know, the pyro glove is not an SFX. Well, I mean, kind of. It might be the way they're handling it. It might not be... I guess what I'm referring to is the very specific way that they're doing the torch fire animations is done through an FFX file. So the pyromancy flame, I don't actually know how they're doing the pyromancy flame. But that is a good tip, though. I am curious if they're doing the pyromancy flame that way. I mean, obviously it should be possible. But basically you have to tell the engine... Well, I don't know. It's the way that they're doing reflections. Because I don't remember seeing those torches illuminated in... Like, because I was playing the PS3 version. And I'm pretty sure... Well, not to mention that water was not actually set to reflect the... all of the map pieces, right? So that's probably a larger issue. But it's the way they're doing reflections... Because I think they're using, they're not using screen space reflections. They're also not really using cube maps, because the cube map would be its own separate thing, right? That they would have already set up. But in this case, we're actually telling the engine, no, render that map piece. And it's actually rendering it in the reflect camera. So I think it's using planar reflections, which they do have a limitation for, dynamic things. That's why ray trace reflections, and you have screen space, because screen space is a really good way. Yeah, once again, I think they're doing the pyromancy flame in a different way, where it's maybe just an animation or some sort of particle effect that isn't done strictly in... I don't know, but I'll look into that. So here's a good thing. This is interesting. So in the actual DS Map Studio, it is not rendering the weird darkness shift between the two areas. Weird. Well, one way of checking that is to basically... Oh, actually, it's already set to... Oh, look at this. What the fuck? So underneath, it's only showing half of it? What the fuck? Oh, that's weird. Okay, well, we gotta pull this up in Blender. What the shit is going on here? 2121. Huh. Alright. Save the shit out of that. Oh, also, just back to the, color-related things, is that it's basically impossible to tweak colors to anyone's satisfaction, because all of you, however you're watching this, the screen you're watching it on is going to be the biggest difference in the colors that you see. And so I'm not going to see how, like I will never know how you're seeing it, other than you'll tell me, well, it's more red. But yeah, that could be the setting that you have on your monitor. What's the color space? What is it set to? Is it set to warm 2, warm 1, cold 2? Your phone screen, probably going to be more contrasty. Like, there is just no way. The only thing I can do is master it for the screen that I have. And then, like, you know, I mean, it looks good to me on a contrasty screen. You know, like I can't guarantee that for other people's monitors. There's just no way to do that. So, oh god, yeah, audio and color mixing, and it's basically a fucking joke because like those are things that are so out of your hands in a lot of ways, right? I have a professional 117 SR. Well, you might be one of the few, so I respect that. But it's still hard. Regardless, it's going to be hard for me that there's going to be other people with other monitors and other screens. So, like, even if, I mean, that's the thing. Like, even if we take your example, even if we 100% color accurate, perfectly color space, tune it or whatever, you're still going to have massive variations based upon people's screens and whatever they're watching it on. If it's a 10-year-old monitor, if it's a plasma, if it's an OLED, it's a bit of a lost cause to truly try to make it look good for everyone. Like, that's just not, that's why we have color settings and light brightness settings in games. So if it's too fucking dark on your screen, crank that brightness up. If it's too light, crank the brightness down. That's what I tell people. Please use your in-game scalers or sliders. I'm absolutely not going to perfect it for everyone. That's how I would go hollow, and I just ain't gonna do that. So once again, download Reshade. That's what I tell people. If there's something specific that you don't like that you just want to tweak on your own, Reshade. Reshade. What was I doing? Oh, 2121. Let's go to 1001. Because, yeah, it's got that weird color shift on the floor. It's really weird. Hey, Pro Art. I wish I had the money for the Pro Art, but yeah, I do hear those are quite nice. 2121. Well, oh my god, Zormak coming in here with, yeah, that's a great other point, is that, like, the human eye, like, dog, like, that's the ultimate thing of, like, fuck that, man. There's a limit to how much effort I'm going to put into that. The thing is, some people suggest you color spaces often closer to the original view. I mean, yeah, right. Like, people will be like, yeah, but what if it was closer to the original game? I do think there's a certain bandwidth I have for that, and then I eventually go, I think where it crosses over for me is where people take it so seriously, as if I'm hacking into the original source code that everyone is playing on Steam. I think that's, to me, where I take issue with, and I go, I am ignoring that, because I am making a mod. But people do treat it as if I am shoving my version onto the Steam version that everyone uses. Like, yeah, I would be way more, like, resistant to change things if that were the case, but luckily it's its own separate mod, so... and honestly, people could, you know, take my mod and then create like a patch for it where they change the lighting and whatnot, you know, like, that's fine. You just have to credit me or something, you know, that'd be nice. But, you know, I'd be like, have at it, man. Oh yeah, that's weird. Where the fuck is the floor? Okay, well now we need to go back in here.